What has this Oliver Green Arbor chronograph and Ivan the Boneless from TV hit show Vikings got in common? Find out in a moment. But before we go any further, here's a quick look at the spec. Hello and welcome to another review. Now today I'm looking at the Arbor by Danish brand Oliver Green, and this is the Green Sunray dial. And you may have guessed it, but one of the co-founders of Oliver Green is Alex Hugh Anderson, who plays Ivan in the long-running show Vikings, which by the way is available on Amazon Prime Video. Now how cool is that?
If the conditions are right, only if we have people that we can trust close to the throne.
But who can we trust?
Vladek is watching us.
But before I carry on any further, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who watches my content, and don't forget to drop me a like, a comment and to subscribe. I really do appreciate it. Now an uber quick wrist check, and today I'm wearing the Bruder Clifton Sport. Now Bruder Watches is a family-owned independent brand from Bristol in England, and in many ways is very similar in terms of business model, how they design their watches and get their product manufactured and take it to market to that of Oliver Green. And yeah, I actually quite like this, so keep a lookout for more in the coming weeks about Bruder. Now Oliver Green is a unisex watch brand, and all watches are designed in their HQ in Copenhagen, up in the stunning country of Denmark. Now this Arbor Green was very kindly sent to me by the guys at Oliver Green, and they've said I could basically keep it, but just to reassure that this as ever won't have any bearing on this review. Spec wise, as shown in my vid just now, this measures in at 41mm diameter at the case, although being a unisex brand there is actually a 36mm option available. I measure it in at 49mm lug to lug, it comes in 20mm at the lug and 10.8mm thick. Now on my 7.5 inch wrist, I actually think it wears pretty well. 41mm kind of hits a sweet spot for me personally for chronographs, but I wouldn't go much smaller as a personal preference. For me, it's not overcomplicated in its design, it does feel very minimalistic, very light on the wrist and fairly comfortable. I think the deep green of the dial is quite striking when it catches the angles of light, as does those steel hands, and this being a chronograph, we have these additional subdials too. So the top pusher here activates the chronograph, and as you can see, the center stop second hand ticks away. Now the subdial on the right is just your standard second counter, with the one on the left being the minute counter for the chronograph. So I'll just reset this, and that chronograph resets in a sweeping way which I really like, rather than that hard reset where in a blink of an eye that center stop second hand is back at 12 o'clock. Now this 41mm version houses a Miyota 6S21 movement, and the 36mm is powered by a Miyota OS21 movement, which obviously both are quartz movements. It has a date window here at 6 o'clock, and around the back, the caseback is a click caseback. Interestingly, on the caseback there is an individual serial number. Now it's 50-meter water resistance too, but I'm not sure that you'd want to be wearing this when you go swimming. I don't know, if you fall into the sea wearing this, you should be okay for about 50 meters of depth. The case is 316L stainless steel, polished, again fairly straightforward in terms of design, as you can see, but it really does possess a very clean cut look and feel to it. It has a scratch resistant flat sapphire crystal with AR coating. Now every single Oliver Green watch comes with interchangeable straps, so you can customize the look of your watch. Just to mention too that the buckle is polished and signed with their logo. This strap is 20mm genuine leather, which is okay and decent quality, but it's got these quick releases too, which makes it really easy to interchange, and I'm a big fan of quick release straps. Now both straps are of decent quality and what you'd probably expect with a €160, 165 US dollar, or around about £140 sterling watch, and at that price I would say that it overall represents decent value for money. Now back on the wrist, and in this colourway in particular, is one I really like, but blue and white are also available. There's some nice design details on the dial too. Just under the 12 o'clock is the Oliver Green logo, which kind of looks like two raindrops, with a brand name and product name above the 6 o'clock. And it has this tiny Designed in Denmark label under the 30-minute marker, and the dial is surrounded by white minute markers with numerals every 5 minutes. Just notice as well that there is no numerical hour markers, not even at 12, 3, 6 or 9 o'clock, which lends itself well to a fairly minimalistic design, although there isn't a 24-hour timer subdial either, and it's just a small bit of detail that is a kind of a slight negative for me, but purely by personal preference, or some might say my OCD, that I actually do prefer chronographs to have that 24-hour time subdial in the absence of any hour markers on the main dial. But overall, if you analyse the dial under a microscope, essentially it should look busy, but on the wrist it really doesn't. It looks clean cut, and the colour of this dial in particular really works well with a polished stainless steel and this band colour. I really like the brand, I like what they stand for. Designed in Denmark, co-owned by a Viking star with an ethos of sustainability at its core, and for me it's that part of their ethos in particular that reflects really well in their design of this watch. Good morning, Arbor. See you later.
Anywho, I have a few important messages for you, but don't worry, I'll talk slowly. The year is 1984 in humans. I'll take you through a set of tests for which you'll receive a grade between A+ and B-. Humans with good grades.
Red! Yes, Red!
We're back.
fit? Is it like a normal joystick?
It's the same method.
Good night, Oliver Green Arbor.